Hello guys, the name's Dutch Matrix. This may be my first video. I was trying to do something else, but that'll have to wait. It's taken a little bit longer to edit, and this one's just going to be a quick one. So today I'm doing my first gun video, pew pew video. Doing my first pew pew type of video on here. And today we're talking about the CA body armor ban. Now, the reason this has come up is because three mass shootings, which when you hear mass shooting, it's not necessarily, it's kind of a term that's made up to scare people a little bit more. Now, I will say every shooting is obviously tragic, but I don't think it's as many people as you might think it is. Because when I hear mass shooting, I kind of think like hundreds of people, but I think a mass shooting is anything over 7 or 5. So take that as you will. There's been recent shootings in California in Monterey Park, Half Moon Bay, the Central Valley, and Oakland, but the Central Valley and Oakland are a little bit less publicized right now, so I'll focus on Monterey, which have their own quirks, and they were reported in a way that I'm not sure is conducive to the conversation, but I'll talk about that a different time maybe. It's not really relevant to the conversation about the body armor ban. I will also, to all those families and all involved, I'd like to offer my prayers, my condolences, and my empathy. I can't imagine what you're going through. It's always tragic to lose people earlier than you think you're going to, especially to something like this. Such a hateful act instead of just something natural. But moving on, these shootings are, weirdly enough, have brought to the stage the California body armor ban, even though none of these shooters were wearing body armor. But it's kind of a good thing they did, because now we can try and fight this. I have no idea why this is being brought up. I guess it started even before these shootings. This Marin assemblyman, Damon Connolly, brought it back up after New York passed their law after the Buffalo shooting. And I think it's just really horrible overall. There's no logic to it, in my opinion, except for maybe one thing. So let's get right into that. And if you want to fight it before we get into it, I would say check out the Firearms Policy Coalition. I've had a little bit of correspondence with them. Seem like really cool people, and I know they are doing good things with fighting for 2A rights. American Suppressor Association, the ASA. But I'll have to get the name right at the end. So the law states right now, and it's Assembly Bill 92, put up by this Marin State Assemblyman, Damien Connolly. Write to him, tell him to stop it. It's basically, if you buy or sell body armor, you have the chance of if you get caught, I guess it's up to a $10,000 fine. You can get your body armor grandfathered in right now, which I would suggest getting body armor as soon as possible if you want it. And this is based off the NY law that is already in place, which New York State already has really high crime rate even without these laws, and they have some of the strictest gun laws. They still have gun crime. There's still people, I'm sure, using body armor for stuff, or who could use body armor for crimes, who could get it elsewhere. Really stupid bill. Don't understand it at all. Anyways. And California also has, if someone really wants something, they're going to get it, whether it be body armor or guns. Now, do I think all gun laws or regulations are wrong? Not so sure about that. There would be people that disagree with me and just think 2A covers everything and everyone should be able to own guns at any time. They should just be able to walk into a store and buy something. Not sure if I completely agree with that, because I do know some people who absolutely should not own guns ever in their life. They're not responsible enough, and they would not be safe enough either for their safety and mine, I would probably prefer they not be able to own a gun. But do I want it legally and made by these government types who don't have anybody's best interest in mind except their own? No, I don't think so. So how would body armor even be classified? There's a lot of people that use weight plates in armor carriers, or like plate vests. They just use weight plates in them to go running with. So what if body armor makers just made a quote unquote California compliant body armor, which is just a weight plate? They just start calling body armor made of the same materials, but they call it a weight plate for your weight training. Also, does this cover just the plates, or does it cover the plate carrier? And then that gets into freedom of expression, I would think, or something like that, where it's like, how can you really tell people what they wear? Because really, when it comes down to it, all body armor is either fabric with bullet resistant material like sewn into it, or it's just a metal plate. How can you really regulate a material like that? I don't understand. Or clothes. I don't understand how you're going to regulate that. And then also, how are you going to regulate people making plates themselves? Because like I said, realistically, plates are just a piece of steel that's just rated to withstand a certain amount of hitting force from the bullet, I guess. I don't know how they rate them. I know they rate them in calibers that they can deflect, but I don't know what... I know there is specific materials, like AR-500 steel is generally for the metal, and then composites are just fiberglass, resin, and ceramic. But how are you going to regulate that? I have no idea, especially people making their own. I won't show any of that in this video, at least not on YouTube, but if you'd like some links, I'll put them up on Rumble or a different platform. At the end of the day, I don't see this being regulated. I don't know how it would, even if they made the law, other than just law-abiding citizens who would just go, oh, well, I guess I can't own body armor, but there'd be plenty of people who would just make it or buy it a different way. Like, you wouldn't even know when people bought body armor if they bought it with cash, because they could just go over into a different state and bring it back, and it doesn't have like a date on it or anything like that. It doesn't have... I guess it has a serial number you could look at, but I don't know if that would even tell you when it was made. It would just maybe tell you the type of body armor it is. And again, I'm not necessarily entirely against gun laws or regulation. I don't know where I stand on that, but I do think we should go back to the times when people were educated on guns, and we had trained, educated, dangerous people behind every blade of grass, as the Japanese said back in World War II, which made them not want to invade us. I think we should go back to those days when everybody was educated on guns, and a lot more people had guns and knew how to use them safely, and it seemed like a much safer time, because there was... the criminals would be more worried about the average citizen having and knowing how to use a gun against them. So even if they did, they'd get stopped a lot quicker, right? Also, these laws are just being made by government people who have their own security, who probably wear body armor themselves underneath their suits. And realistically, this is just another law to try and get you to be more dependent on the government, more defenseless, less self-reliant, which are all things you don't want to be. You want to be the opposites of those things, especially in California, where people use illegal weapons all the time. Why wouldn't I, as a legally abiding citizen, want to be able to defend myself in the best way possible? Which is why I feel it's so upsetting that concealed carry, even with the Supreme Court ruling, is still so hard to get here in California. Lastly, I will say, if it comes to a state or city vote, vote it down. Don't let it pass through. And then also get your armor as soon as possible. My suggestions would be to go through AR500. The links will be in the description. AR500 for the lower end, but still quality in my opinion. Spartan armor for a more mid-range set. I have a Spartan armor set, and if they want to, either of those companies want to sponsor us, please let me know. Would love to have you. And then on the higher end, Moss Tactical and T-Rex arms have some great stuff, but they are definitely higher end. So lastly, again, go help out the Firearms Policy Coalition. I've had some talks with them. Really cool people. I think they're doing the right thing as far as defending the Second Amendment. Same with the American Suppressor Association. I think it is. I'll link them down in the description as well. Please go down in the description and look at our links. We have a link tree up there for our Instagram. Go ahead and sub, like, comment what you think about these